In group discussions also, what helps is if you create a group of people who can debate things amongst yourselves, which becomes a mock stage before you actually go for the interview. Because in my experience during my days, a lot of people would start talking at the same time. Okay, so you have 10 people talking at the same time and no one can be heard. And then you need to figure out when the pause will happen so that you can put in your point. Okay? Now this is very unique about how India operates. Abroad, people don't work this way. They let some person say something, then the next person will either add on to the point or say a different point. What is your experience? Have you guys, these guys for this session? Or? Okay. Have you guys practiced some group discussions yet or no? Not yet. So now unless you have any more questions on group discussions, I'm going to shift now focus to maybe the personal interview.
How does the GD actually work? What do they give you points? Just what you speak and how you speak?
Well, one is definitely content. How much content do you have? Second is how articulate you are, whether you can convey your point in a way that makes sense, doesn't seem biased. Third is whether you are collaborating. When someone makes a good point, can you support the point? You need not always be anti everyone, right? So you can support a point and then add on your point. So there's a bunch of factors because group discussion means focus also should be on group, while individually you have to speak what is the group dynamic. Are you able to carry a group along with you, with your point of view, and convey it in a group setting? Because when you graduate out of an IIM and go into corporate life, that's a skill you will need to have. You will have people coming from all over and you haven't worked with them earlier. You will have bosses, you will have your peers joining from other institutes, you will have maybe peers joining from technical colleges, right? Other technical colleges. You will have people from different parts of the country. How do you collaborate and bring about that cohesion that will be required in a group? So that is the other thing you will need to watch out from a group discussion perspective. If it's a free-for-all, maybe you want to just say, excuse me, I just want to interrupt and bring some order to the group, because 30 minutes of wasted time, 10 people speaking at the same time, it's not going to help anyone. So whether you are leading in the group, whether you are being a good supporter of group dynamics, your content, your articulation, your thought process, all these will count during the group discussion stage. So I presume we can shift to personal interview. So again, some practice is very important. I think if you just do a quick Google, you will probably get a list of 15, 20 key questions that will be important for you at personal interview stage. For example, one of the questions could be, what have you done so far? Describe yourself. What do you want to do in the future? What is your ambition? And how does IIM or being in IIM support that ambition? Why that particular college? Whether you are interviewing at A, B, C, K, L, wherever you are interviewing. Yeah. How is that college aligned to that? So in terms of your research, you should know what your background is. Typically, when you're creating your profile, I think a one-pager should be more than enough at this stage, because you guys have just completed schooling and then 4 years of college, right? So a one-pager should be more than enough. I wouldn't recommend you go beyond one page when you are creating that profile of yours. What would help is if you have done some extra corrects, add those to that, any leadership roles you've taken on, whether organizing a management fest, organizing a technical fest, or organizing something, being part of something in college. or school, highlight those things. Any medals, awards you won, highlight those things. And in terms of the interview, then this would help you then describe why from a technical oriented stream, which is what you're doing at IIT Delhi, you want to shift into management. So what is prompting you to shift to management? So I told you I cleared IIM in my second attempt, not in my first attempt, because first attempt I didn't really know IIMs existed, frankly speaking, till very late in my fourth year when I had given my, I think, second minor, and then people said they are preparing for IIMs. I'm like, what is CAT? I have no idea. That let the cat out of the bag. And then by that time you realize that, you know what, sometimes you think getting into college is the end of your education. But then I realized that there is more to it, and I attempted that. I didn't get any calls in my first year. And I said, that's okay, because then you go on into corporate life, you start your job. My first job was with Britannia in Bombay, and they had a management training program. I don't know if any of you has been through internships or not, but they had a very structured management training program, which invited the technical people and people who are coming from B schools, part of the same program. And they were rotated through different departments, right? So while manufacturing, mixing and packing were focus areas for us technical graduates, we also got rotations through production planning, we got rotation through marketing, through sales, through quality, engineering, stores, all different functions, right? Now that was one place through my training at Britannia that I realized how important it is to know more beyond technology. Right? Technology is good, it is important, but there is something more beyond technology you need to know, which are these business functions like finance, like marketing, sales. You interact with HR and try and understand how they are formulating these HR policies. Right? Now that planted a seed in my mind that I need to get an MBA. I need to have a general management background because I thought it was important in business. That prompted me to then attempt my CAT for the second year, the next year, and then I got those calls, and then I articulated this thought about why I wanted to do an MBA. So you need to create a story which resonates with what you are, what you've done in the past, and why you think a management education is important for you at this stage, and how it is going to transform you or propel you 5 to 10 years down the line. Right? The propulsion could be in terms of whether you want to become an entrepreneur and hence you need to know business, different aspects of business. So that could be one aspect. Or it could be creating social impact, and hence you need, as you said, you want to create social impact, be in civil services. And you think for that having good management, people management or domain skills is important. And then you can decide on what you want to do during your MBA, right? So some thought on whether you want to be a general manager. A general manager is a person who distributes their learning across different functional disciplines. So you get a broad perspective across strategy, finance, operations, manufacturing, HR, so on and so forth. Versus a specialist who would focus more on, say, I want to do finance. This is what I want to do. This is my future. Okay? Or I am a marketing expert. I want to do 10 courses in my second year electives, 10 on marketing. Right? So you need to think about whether you already have that picture clear in your mind, or what are the things or factors you will use during your MBA to be able to decide what you will do, whether you will be in general management or a specific functional domain. You could talk about any role models you have and how you aspire to that level and how their journey has been in a certain way, which would mean you have to do some research on those people and then align them to your profile. Or you could look at maybe some friends, some colleagues, talk to them, gain some inputs. Institutes are also likely to ask you why you want to choose that certain institute. So better go to their website, figure out what kind of courses they offer, figure out what kind of disciplines they have, any new initiatives they've started, whether they have an entrepreneurship cell or not. If so, whether it is popular, what do you like about it, have you read about it at a certain place. So you cross-reference these things when you do your interview with the panel. It could be a panel, it could be a single person. Sometimes I have seen in interviews, they ask you questions related to your analytical skills also. So they may ask you maybe just a question on permutation combination, or something about data analysis, they show you a graph or something. It is rare, but it can happen. So they want to see whether you're prepared to handle that, not prepared to handle that. So be prepared for those kind of questions, which are more CAT exam focused questions. They also could get asked during that interview.